And? Anything else? Oh, good idea, Phoenix.
EMILY by 𝙻𝙾𝙻𝚈𝙻. EMILY purred as she lay curled up on the warm, gently vibrating pump housing for the ship's water recycling system. Something had troubled her dreams, however. Opening her eyes a crack, she noted a red glow coming from further up the pipe-lined industrial corridor of the engineering deck. Red illumination wasn't usually a good sign on a spaceship. Thought EMILY as she raised her head. I'd better go check on the humans. As ship's cat, it was her duty to ensure the well-being of her crew, even if it was just a gentle paw placed on a stressed human hand for emotional support. It was an important and essential job. She made her way back to the main gantry, hopping from water pipe to coolant pipe, and then climbing up an access ladder, meant for humans but still perfectly accessible to her reach. There were indeed red emergency lights activated, but no klaxons. She did dream she heard those awful loud alarms. I must have woken after they turned them off, she thought. I was very tired. Emotional support takes a lot out of you, continued her inner monologue. Although EMILY really only had 2 crew members to provide emotional support to, Thomas and Mary. The rest were all cat haters, sociopaths to be more precise, which did make her work with Thomas and Mary more intensive due to the amount of stress those two developed from having to interact with a belligerent, antisocial crew. Maybe they've already dealt with the emergency, she pondered. She came to the end of a corridor and stretched up to the lift button on the wall. In a moment, she was on her way up to the upper decks. She suddenly realized that she hadn't eaten for at least an hour. Reaching up, she pressed the button for the deck that the mess hall was on. There's always time for a snack, she mused. Ding, went the food prep machine, signaling that her meal was ready. This distraction is probably why she missed the dark, blurry shape zip past the mess hall entrance, moving swiftly down the corridor. She thought as she took in the aroma of her meal before hoeing in. Salmon with a dash of sour cream and a sprinkle of catnip, her absolute favorite. As she ate, she couldn't help noticing a significant number of bangs and clangs echoing through the ship's superstructure. Such noises weren't that unusual, however. They were usually accompanied by human expletives as someone complained about dropping a spanner or such like. Odd, she thought, then pressed a button for a small dish of lactose-free milk. As she sat on the counter having her post-snack groom, she paused mid-groom with her tongue blepped out and paw in mid-air. Where is everyone? She finally noticed the distinct and unusual lack of Homo sapien apes. Then she noticed the pleasant aroma coming from a far corner of the mess hall. Hopping to the floor and padding over to the source of the delicious smell, she discovered where at least one of the humans were. That is to say, what was left of them. Lying on the floor amid a tangle of broken chairs and tables was the mangled and bloody remains of one of the crew. She couldn't tell by sight who it was, so she sniffed a dismembered hand. Oh good, she thought, it's not one of the good ones. She couldn't resist. She had a taste of the lovely smelling red stuff. She thought, I wonder if I can get the food synthesizer to replicate that. Then as an afterthought, I'd better go check the camera room. As EMILY patiently rode the lift to the top deck, she didn't quite hear the stifled scream of the human who had been desperately hitting the button for the lift she was currently occupying, nor the wet, crunching sound of a hole being punched through their skull into their brain. Nor did she hear the heavy sliding along the floor and wall as their now lifeless body was dragged up into a vent. The fresh, pleasant-smelling red fluid covering the floor as she stepped out of the elevator did make it quite clear what she had just missed, and that the humans, most definitely, had not got the emergency situation under control. The security room door slid open and EMILY adroitly hopped onto the control console of the ship's CCTV system. Oh dear, thought EMILY as she witnessed the extent of the carnage on the ship. She padded over to the large monitor that displayed the status of the crew's health. Oh dear, she thought again. Only 3 crew left alive. A health status went black. 2. Only 2 crew left alive. Who is it? Oh good, Thomas and Mary. You can always count on the pro-social ones to muddle through. Padding back to the camera feeds, she soon located her favourite humans. Oh wow, look at the size of those things they're fighting, Emily marvelled. They're doing such a good job working together. I'll bet all the others just tried to save themselves. What's the point of being part of a social species if you don't behave socially, she mused. Well, that's evolution for you. Eventually, only those humans who can behave pro-socially, like us cats, will survive. At this moment, the stealthy little juvenile alien that had been slowly sneaking up behind Emily jumped at her, hissing with 4 arms spread out, ready to grab her. Unfortunately for the poor little creature, Emily had been tracking its progress with her superb feline hearing. Crunch went its neck in her jaws. Bleh, winced Emily as she spat her lifeless catch out. You taste disgusting. I'll have to fix myself some more salmon. But first, she thought as she glanced at the monitor again, I'd better go give them a hand. Emily jumped down and slipped through the cat flap in the container in the center of the security room. There was the sound of electronics powering up and step motors whirring. The front of the container opened to reveal Emily, fully ensconced in her armored exoskeleton that was adorably sized just for her. Let me see, Emily purred. Cerebral enhancement integration? Check. Gyro stabilizers? Check. And weapons? At this thought, the chain gun barrel whirled to life, and a brief spurt of flame shot from the flamethrower spout. Check. Time to cook some aliens' gooses. I think I'll replicate roast goose later.